Fans of Alone in the Wilderness get that beyond hunger, fishing is a big hit with contestants. Catching fish isn't as easy as magic for them. Snagging a big one feels like they're in a wild fishing competition. Each catch outdoes the previous, with some cleverly using their breakfast as bait, ensuring no meal goes to waste. Pretty clever, It's really killing two birds with one stone. Just look at that white, tender fish meat. Who wouldn't be tempted? Any fishing enthusiasts out there? Could we still join in? Maybe? Come the third day, it's freezing outside. Tucker barely feels like moving in bed, almost doing his business there if not for the sleeping bag. Solely depending on a fire for warmth is a sure path to freezing. The priority now is constructing a new shelter before the harsher winter weather arrives. Nearby trees are showing yellow leaves. Time is running short. The land here is ideal for shelter construction. Tucker is confident his shelter will be cozy. He must first figure out its size before beginning to clear the surrounding area. The task at hand is hefty. Tucker has poured his initial energy into it, worried he'll tire before the shelter's complete. But if he can get the shelter done, it will undoubtedly be the warmest among all the participants. He dearly misses his younger brother, who a driver whisked away to another world. Solitude deepens his melancholy. Thus, it's vital to value time with family. Accidents are unpredictable, like when constructing a shelter now. Is it really necessary to clear such a large area? Meanwhile, Piers next door chooses to catch fish first, prioritizing food. Finding food will become tougher post-winter, so stocking up is wise. Piers is confident the production team's chosen spot will lure fish, but the water is just too shallow, isn't it? The mud at the bottom almost clogs the fishnet. Setting up the fishnet was a real struggle. Piers hopes for a catch tomorrow, despite the nearby grizzly bears. Confident in his shelter's safety, Piers begins to collect mushrooms and berries, eager to keep them from the bears. He also tries fishing with a line, clearly showing how hungry he is. Though he didn't catch any fish, he spotted some ducks, but despite wanting to hunt them with a bow and arrow, they were out of reach and retrieving any he might hit was impossible. Out of the blue, a sound came from the shore. Edging closer, finding ducks there too caught me off guard. I barely missed my shot, so now I need to fetch my arrow from the water. This teaches me not to hurry when uncertain. In the water for just a short time, I nearly froze. I must hurry and wear a fire-starting suit to get warm. By the 5th day of the challenge, Blake had made another table. Now, I can place my tools on it. Suddenly, I heard the call of a squirrel and immediately grabbed my bow and arrow, ready to hunt. I can't miss out on food that comes knocking at my door. Every problem has a solution. If not, just find another way. Blake quickly found a meal. The squirrel was lean, but delicious. I aim to keep its fur whole. I can take it home as a souvenir, make some of it into bait. The key to lasting until the end is to catch more fish. Despite having caught for squirrels, it didn't add much to my energy. Blake didn't want to waste them. I simply packed moss in and sealed it with fishing line. Why bother? Blake figures if it brings him joy, that's enough. Michaela's already in camo, crouched and on the lookout for ducks. Neither kids nor mimicking duck sounds seem to lure them in. Persisting in this manner won't work. I need to find a new spot. Constant hunger is bad, but what's happening here is even tougher. My only option is to keep moving along the shore. Without a new spot to fish, just the river won't sustain me till the end. Along the way, I did find some burdock. These roots are rich in carbohydrates and eating them makes me feel better. There weren't many, but I could boil them in water to eat, along with some berries. Having something to eat is already quite good. Peter's hard at work crafting fishing gear, aiming to maximize his resources. His body's in dire need of a fish to boost his energy. Once I catch a fish, it means I can do more with bait. Just one success gives me more confidence to complete the challenge. He's got a triple-pronged hook. It's perk. The fish gets snagged no matter where it bites. Following a few tweaks, it seems promising. Time to test it. I fished in the wild since childhood. I always thought it was a fun thing to do, but coming here, it feels quite discouraging. Peter plans to cast it farther to see how it works. The spot's pretty far, yet the line runs smooth, no snags. Saw a bunch of fish close by, too. Today seems promising for fishing. It's becoming simpler to handle after a few attempts. At last, a fish bit, but escaped just before I could pull it in. It was large, perfect for a filling meal. Right then, I felt unstoppable. Catching a big fish daily would make getting through to spring easy. Pace, here for 6 days, feels it's high time his net snagged a fish, given his daily fishing lessons. Since getting here, Pace hasn't landed any fish. He wonders if his students knew. Would they still attend his classes? Spotting birds by the fishnet from afar, Pace took it as a hopeful sign of a catch. He was still a way off from the net. The fish's head was already poking out. I was thrilled. The catch looked pretty good, so I immediately picked it up. Hunger's not a concern lately. Catching a fish every couple of days boosts my confidence to make it through. Instead of a survival test, it feels like we're in a fishing competition, with everyone catching increasingly larger fish. I hurried to clean the fish. It's been a long time since I've had such juicy meat, so much that it couldn't all fit in the pot. I'll start by cooking half to taste it. While others might save it, I believe in eating my fill to keep it safe. Eating all the fish today is how I'll keep the food safe. Just gotta make sure I don't eat too much. Even without any seasoning, the fish tastes incredibly delicious. If I could eat a fish like this every day, settling down here wouldn't be so bad. Tucker is still busy building a shelter. The ground has been leveled. Now it's time to erect the support poles. They must be solid since more materials will be added. Tucker aims to avoid a collapse during sleep. Gathering and moving materials already consumed much time. He's confident in his building method, knowing it's crucial for winter survival. Plus, the online champs have impressive shelters he acknowledges. He wants to surpass them. Even if he doesn't win the prize money, Tucker's shelter is indeed large. Eager for its completion, I suddenly catch squirrel chatter and quickly snatch up my bow to attempt a shot. They munch away in the branches. Tucker wouldn't miss this opportunity. Instantly, Tucker caught a squirrel, feeling thrilled and even more sure about finishing his shelter. He also planned to use the squirrel meat for bait, aiming to snag a fish. Meanwhile, he'd enjoy some as a snack. It's been so long since he had this meat, it smelled incredibly good. He elegantly tore off a piece to taste. This is truly the best part of wilderness survival. Eating squirrel meat and enjoying the scenery, he really wished he could share this with his family. Tucker was very worried about his wife's health. Winning the prize meant more time with his wife. Post-squirrel meal, he went to inspect the fishing line. It appeared as though there was a struggle. Quickly yanking on the line, Tucker was amazed to find the squirrel meat had snagged a large fish. Tucker felt today was just fantastic. His quick thinking was quite impressive. Now he felt even more confident about making it to the end. He just wondered how the other contestants were doing. Next door, Peter had taken apart a parachute cord and woven it into a net, hoping to catch some fish. If he caught enough, he aimed to construct a smokehouse for the fish. Earlier, his fishing line snagged a large one, and his net also had a catch. A big fish was hanging there. After a busy time, Peter had caught quite a few fish. He wouldn't have to worry about going hungry this week. It seemed like he really had to build that smokehouse. He had been prepared for the worst, not expecting happiness to come so quickly. Now he had to hurry up and build it. There was still so much to do. He opted for the simplest version. All he needed to do was hang the fish. The only problem was the fear of attracting bears. No amount of fish would be enough for them. Once there was a lot of food, troubles followed. Peter thought covering it with moss might protect it. The end result seemed quite impressive. Peter also considered using something to keep bears away. Despite his exhaustion, he resolved to guard the smoking process all night to make sure it worked. Vernon also caught some fish and planned to check the rabbit traps before cooking. He already lived in a remote area. Daily, Vernon alternated between hunting in the wild and resting at home. This slightly tougher environment wasn't much of a departure from his usual nightly life. He set up 2 rabbit traps, ready to come back empty-handed, but unexpectedly, he actually caught a rabbit. And it looks quite big. Paired with fish, it's a perfect match. It would be even better if we could get a squirrel too. After resetting the traps, he dug a special hole for the birch bark to keep the firewood dry. The rabbit can also be put inside. I'll clean it properly tomorrow and eat it. I'll also check on Michaela's situation. The shelter needs to be reinforced every day. Currently, fruits hardly satisfy hunger. Despite the wilderness's challenges, staying positive is crucial. It feels like ages since I last caught a fish. I feel my body getting weaker by the day. I'm not eating much. If this continues, I'm afraid I won't make it through the week. I hope there are fish caught in the net. Otherwise, I won't be able to finish reinforcing the shelter. It'll be even harder to withstand the winter. I wonder if the fish sensed Michaela's desperate need and swam into the net on purpose. Just for this made Michaela ecstatic. It's been so long since she's seen such a plump, big fish, longer than her own arm. Hunger won't be a concern for a while now. Curious though, doesn't she fear the fish might wriggle out of her grasp and slip back into the lake? Currently, Michaela is fixated on the fish, almost ready to eat it on the spot. Preparing it is easy, just need to remove the gills and innards. The parts not eaten can also be used as bait. Michaela believes she can catch more fish in the future. Perhaps the thrill of the catch is making her queasy and eager to vomit. Michaela is puzzled about what's causing this. She threw up the morning's berries and burdock root, which she hopes might lure fish. Feeling somewhat relieved post-vomit, she presses on. She still needs to prepare and cook the fish, worried about vomiting again after eating the meat, but now she just has to endure the discomfort and continue. Planning to make a fish head soup first. If her body is okay, then try to eat some fish meat. Michaela also removed the fish bones and spines. The white meat seems delicious. Can anyone identify the fish they're having? I'm eager to catch one myself for a test. After Michaela's busy work, the fish is finally cleaned. Later, Uncle can make some food to fill the stomach. Peter Peter, who's been around for 8 days and caught plenty of fish, is always on edge about bears. He's thinking of building a ladder to keep the food up high. It's not difficult to make, just need to cut a notch on top. It will be more stable when fixed, despite eating so much meat. Here, we have 14 hours of daylight, keeping me endlessly busy. I initially believed securing food would improve matters. Unexpectedly, an accident occurred. I never thought I'd injure an animal. I believe the wound isn't too severe. I thought it would be fine with some bandaging, so I continued with my work. I miss my son terribly. I wish I could go home now. Maybe it's the blood loss, but my head feels a bit dizzy. I endure the discomfort and assembled the ladder. The ladder turned out well, though I'm unsure if it'll help me catch food. Still, I wanted to do more. I checked the shore's fish lines. Earlier, a fish was caught, but it somehow got away. It seems I'm really too tired. Once I have enough food, I'll rest at 9. I don't want to exhaust myself. Today wasn't my lucky day. I didn't catch anything on 2 lines, and now only the last one remains. But still, I caught nothing. Yesterday's joy matches today's disappointment. Despite having meat recently, my appetite vanished after the injury. For some reason, I'm longing to be back home. Memories of my family flood in, and suddenly, I find myself crying. I feel I can't stay here any longer. I sit quietly by the shore, talking to the camera. Joining this challenge was mainly to see if my survival skills had improved. Indeed, I've done quite well, except for the injury. I've had good food and sleep. The only problem is I miss my family too much. I know I have a lot more to give. It would be a shame to leave now. I struggled with this decision for a long time. Ultimately, I dialed the crew. Surprising, isn't it? Peter, successful just yesterday, now opts to exit the challenge and return home. I truly believed he could have won. Now, Peter's mind is solely on getting back to his family. Maybe only those who've been in the challenge get this deep family yearning. The crew didn't expect Peter to leave so soon. Peter feels he's not ready yet. He hopes for a future invite from the crew once his resolve is firmer. Thus, we see another contestant exit the challenge. I wonder who among the remaining contestants will be favored. Let's wait and see.